What's up, guys? Harthic here, and today we're playing some more Shadowrun. I don't think I'll be doing much this episode, and if not, I'm probably going to skip it, but let's get some shopping out of the way, and then we'll be on our way. First up, let's spend my karma. Got 9 points. What do we want? Cyberware, strength. Let's see. Attacks. I'm needing more crits. It's either strength or body, really. Maybe quickness for dodging, but yeah, we'll just increase close combat. Medium. Let's see if we can go find another weapon somewhere. Everyone's leveled up except for you. So we can either give a accuracy boost to his drone, or give it increased movement speed. I want it to aim better. Go. Jinn, huh? That is the Parlor of Five Faces. Let's go say hi to Jinn. As you approach the small landing, you see 3 men, 2 elders and a younger man, hunched over a go board. The juxtaposition of the 2 white-haired, white-bearded men and the black-haired man is almost comical. Together, the 3 resemble the small black and white stones of their game. Despite the variety of ambient distractions, the 3 men remain acutely focused on the game. One of the elders, a round-faced man with a beatific smile, carefully picks up a black stone and places it on the board. His opponent snorts, and a small smile flashes across his long face. Almost carelessly, he snatches a white stone and deposits it on the board. The smiling man groans, and the long-faced one proceeds to collect several black pieces off the board. Ah, you got me there, Jinn. He laughs, a pleasant, full sound. As it trails off, he spots you watching the game. A broad smile brightens his cheeks. Why, hello there, young man. Something you need? The long-faced man gives you a cursory look and continues to collect black stones. Just a gawker, Shu. It's your turn. Name's Harthic. Got a second to answer a question or two? Shu nods. I could use a short break. How about you, Jinn? Jinn sighs, shoulders slumping forward. After a moment of scowling, he reluctantly speaks. Fine. A short break. The 2 elders turn toward the younger man. He looks to be in his early 30s, but it's difficult to tell. The skin on his face is smooth and supple, with only the suggestion of creases at the eye, mouth, and forehead. But small gestures, a blink, a flare of his nostrils, briefly reveal the lines of his face. The man's eyes rise from the go board and study the elders. He nods. I've been hearing about strange dreams here in Hawaii. Have you had any nightmares recently? 3 men exchange looks. Shu turns to you. What a coincidence. Wasn't but an hour ago that we were all discussing that very thing. We have been having bad dreams. Every one of us. Interesting. You mind sharing? Jinn shakes his head and crosses his arms. What makes you think we'd be comfortable sharing our dreams with a complete stranger? Seems like a good way to get ourselves in trouble, especially with what you kids can do with that matrix you all love so much. He turns his head, pretends to spit. Peh! Shu waves his hands dismissively at Jinn. Don't mind him, he's always been a poor sport. But he raises a good point. Some of our dreams contain information best left private. Just as yours do, I'm sure. Having just met, how can we be sure that you'll respect our personal information? I'll tell you. The younger man's voice cuts through the din like a razor, and the elders fall silent. He turns to you and he locks his eyes, dark orbs that burn with piercing scrutiny onto yours. He nods and returns his gaze to the go board. I believe you're trustworthy. Please, Harthic, make yourself comfortable. I'll share my dream with you. I appreciate it. Go ahead. He exhales slowly, then begins speaking. I dreamed of a long, dingy hall. When faced with such a thing, one generally walks its length, so I lifted my right foot and placed it in front of me. But upon taking that first step, I found myself instead drawn down an alleyway to my left. It wasn't there before, this alley. It appeared only as I began to walk. Wow, good typo there. As I moved down the alley, I found myself surrounded by friends and loved ones. They all stood there, silently watching me with smiles on their faces. And as I passed each one of them, they fell to the ground in my wake, dropping like puppets with severed strings. Somehow, I knew that if I followed this road to the end, I could have everything I'd ever dreamed of. But I woke before I could reach it. He folds his hands in his lap. There's a moment of silence before Shu speaks up, the rosiness in his cheeks having drained away. I, too, saw the long hall. My own experience was different, however. The hall was far off in the distance, and I was looking down on it from a strange angle, as though I were perched on a wall high above. He pauses and looks at you. You know, young man, Harthic, you look very much like the person I saw walking that hall. He moves steadily down the path, walking at an even pace, and just behind him, a great and terrible shadow followed. Of course, I didn't have the best view up there on the wall, or wherever I was. It could have been anyone. Perhaps this old mind of mine is seeing your face now, and misremembering the dream. He lets out a chuckle, and a small flush of red turns to his cheeks. He looks over at Jin. Alright, Jin, go ahead. Jin broods in his corner, arms crossed and jaws set. I've changed my mind. I don't want to share my dream. Nonsense. Master Lao and I have both told him our dreams, and now it's your turn. Jin sticks out his lower lip. No. It's fine. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. He holds his palm up toward you and looks at Shu. See? Straight from the horse's mouth. I don't have to. Jin, Lao's voice is firm, but stop. Lao's voice is firm, but soft. This is important. Jin's mouth opens and closes like a gasping fish. But as he looks at Lao, his body relaxes, and a sadness seems to take hold of his features. Alright. But don't you go repeating any of this, you hear me? He takes in a deep breath and slowly releases it, folds his hands in his lap. My dream began as a nightmare. I dreamed of the failures and mistakes that I've made throughout my life. The people I've let down, the competitors I've crushed, the wife who died in hospice without me. I dreamed of the family that I abandoned. A change comes over him. His eyes brighten, and he continues energetically. But then, I dreamed of the walled city. I stood before it, and its door opened to me, and when I passed inside, all of my guilt fell away. It was as though the city had absolved me, had washed away my guilt, and I remember feeling happy. As his remembrance ends, so does his light. His face shrinks into a pout, and he stares grumpily at the ground. There, I did it. You happy? Lao nods slowly. Thank you, Jin. You have my thanks too. Yeah. Now can we change the subject? My ulcer's acting up. I'm guessing you've been around these parts longer than I have. Is this sort of thing normal? If it were normal, we wouldn't be huddled around discussing them in whispers now, would we? Enough of that, Jin. Harthic here asked in earnest for our advice. He deserves a proper response. Shu gives you a gentle smile. Please forgive our friend. Later years have left him suspicious of others. The answer to your question is no. Upsetting dreams have never been uncommon in Huai, but these recent visitations have been different. They've been darker, more vivid, stronger than normal dreams. Last night, I felt consumed by the sense that something was coming. When my friends here felt a sense of relief and excitement as their dreams ended, I felt as though I were sitting on the precipice of some vast and terrible chasm, with the void yawning beneath my feet. Suddenly, his cheeks flush. He blinks twice, then looks away. But perhaps these are just ramblings of an old man. Please forgive me. He scratches his nose, embarrassed. You speak wisely, Shu. It is foolish to embrace a thing that you do not understand. What Jin and I saw in our dreams was alluring, but so is the light to a moth. Your instincts are still strong and sharp, my old friend. It is wise of you to trust them. Shu bows deeply, his eyes to the ground. Thank you. I can only hope these dreams do lead to something beautiful. There's already enough deception in this world. Jin groans loudly. Can we get back to the game now? I don't want to keep you. Of course. Stop by again sometime soon, Harthic. Your company has been refreshing. Thanks. Good luck with your game. Appreciate it, young man. We'll be seeing you. So I'm not the only one with the shitty dreams, so that's good to know. Reliable Matthew, huh? Let's go to the parlor. Maybe there's something cool in there. This is Crafty Zoo. Alright, let's see. Hi, Zoo. A mild scent, sweet and slightly herbal. It's the first thing you notice upon entering the old shop. Its quarters are cramped, made smaller by the display cases and furniture packed inside. The walls are lined with bookshelves and the tables and chairs are stacked with old tomes. A few titles jump out at you. Lucid Dreaming, an exploration of the inner self. Dream Logic, Nocturnal Visitations. Overall, the place feels lived in, if disorganized. Not quite cluttered, but close. Milling at the front of the store is the shopkeeper, lost in a book of her own. She's tall for a human, probably close to 2 meters in height. Her physique is typical bookworm, not overweight, but you can't see any muscular definition either. A wraparound tattoo covers her upper arms and shoulders, but from where you're standing, you can't quite make it out. She fidgets. Gradually, her eyes rise from her book and lock onto you. Welcome. Don't believe I've seen you before. She sets down her book and sweeps a strand of black and pink hair behind her ear. Name's Crafty. Harthic. Nice to meet you. She shakes your hand. Her grip is surprisingly firm. So, Harthic, what can I do for you? I've got spells, chemical reagents, foci, whatever you want, really. Might have to do some digging to find it, but if it's magical, it's around here somewhere. Say, Craft, have you had any vivid dreams lately? Her face is unreadable. Her eyes lock onto yours. As a matter of fact, I have, Harthic. But we all get the occasional vivid dream. Nothing special there. Gesture to the books on the tabletop. Really? Then why are you reading up on them? She flicks her wrist dismissively. Sure, it's a little weird that we're having them, but these types of dreams are common in the walled city. Nothing to get all worked up about, probably. They're common? Explain. She nods. Common as the cold. My mother devoted her life to researching the walled city and the magical phenomena within it, so I grew up with stories about the walled city. The current, creepy dreams being one of them. I've never been inside the walled city myself, but Mom went in pretty regularly and experienced the dreams. Your mom sounds like an interesting person. This sides of her mouth. Good. Did anybody proofread this? This is too... okay. This sides of her mouth dip into a shallow frown. Sure, she was interesting, but not praiseworthy. Is this your store, or do you just work here? It's mine. I inherited it from my mom. As you can see, she generously left me all her research journals. Her words are thick with sarcasm. Mom was never a big cleaner, but neither am I. My mom used to keep spirits around that helped her manage the place. They're not here anymore, but sometimes I swear my books aren't where I last placed them. Who knows? Maybe they pop by for visits. I just wish they'd clean while they're here. What makes the store so special? It's old, respectable, built over a dragon line. She slightly tilts her head to the side. We also carry texts unavailable anywhere else, but I guess, for me, I'm drawn to this place by the nostalgia. You don't sound thrilled. It's a job. Can't complain. What's with the name of the store? It's a cultural thing. The 5 phases represent wood, earth, water, fire, and metal. Some people believe they're the basis of how things function and interact in this world. You'll find it practiced all throughout China in disciplines ranging from farming to science, even music. The theory isn't common among younger generations, but it has its uses. My mother was strongly influenced by it. In fact, our sign out front is a visual representation of the cycle of the 5 phases. It was an inspiration to her. She raises her shoulder in a half shrug. I just think it looks kind of neat. I have a question about something else. Sure. Tell me about yourself, Crafty. She raises a shoulder in a half shrug. I'm not sure where to start. What do you want to know? What do you do when you're not at work? I've been pretty crunched here at the shop, so I don't have a lot of time outside of work. But when I'm off the clock, I like to read and paint. Maybe kick back and enjoy a meal with my friends. My buddy Gobbet sometimes stops by with food. No drag racing or anything. Pretty boring. You said you paint? Just for fun. I don't make any money off of it or anything like that. I just find it relaxing. She pats her arms. Design my tattoos. But that's about the extent that I take it beyond the canvas. I'd like to see your paintings sometimes. Some of them are around the shop. You're welcome to take a look. What do you like to read? Crafty claps her hands together, and a slow smile spreads across her face. Aside from the usual, I love sitting down each morning to a tall cup of soy calf with the latest news stream on hand. I'd pop it right open to the obituaries. Makes for great reading. She smiles at you for a moment before speaking. Kidding? Well, for all you know. I tend to stray towards detective novels, maybe some suspense and horror, and when I'm not reading for leisure, I study my textbooks to keep my magic sharp. I know a Gobbet. Wonder if they're the same person. You know a lot of Gobbets? Her teasing resolves itself into a gentle smirk. I'm sure they're one and the same. She's a good person. We're not real close, but we have a pleasant relationship. Chatting over French fries, discussing our latest reads. You know, shallow things. How do you know her? Just met, actually. Good. Keep her by your side. Gobbet's pretty fluent in the ways of this city and the people who live here. She knows her stuff. If you stick with her, you'll find yourself in a lot less trouble than you would otherwise. Sounds fun, but I'd like to ask you something on a more serious note. Sure. What's on your mind? Is Crafty really your first name? No. A wave of nostalgia seems to pull her gaze towards the shop's front window. The name started out as a joke, actually. Back home, my mom used to call me Crafty, since the meaning is similar to my given name. I liked it because of the way it sounds. I insisted that my family call me Crafty, so it became a sort of nickname around the house. When I got older and started school in Hong Kong, I made my mom register me as Crafty, and it stuck. So what's your given name? Meow. She raises her hand to prevent you from replying. Yes, like a cat. You foreigners always make that same joke, which is why I grew up hating Meow. Call me Crafty. Your mother sounds like quite the mage. Did you study magic too? I sure did. Natural predisposition. She flexes her arm. Or whatever. But Mom and I learned the craft differently. I went to a university, and she was book taught. Mom was a very old school. Her magic wasn't as applicable to everyday situations, and it was rooted in superstitions. It still worked, and well, but only for more ritualistic ancient spells. Practical spells, like rain shields and bottomless trash cans, were outside of her repertoire. Back on topic. What else do you know about the walled city? Very little. Just that my mother spent most of her time in there and she shifts her weight and leans onto the counter. Well, it messed her up. Is there something specific you want to know about? What can you tell me about the city? She runs a hand through her hair, exhales. Where to begin? The walled city's always been a hellhole. It started a bad place. It's still a bad place. Crime's drawn to it like a magnet, and you can't enter the city without a security guard on each elbow. But not even that will guarantee your safe passage. No one famous or rich or memorable has ever come from that place, and the only thing it's known for around here is its shitty reputation. She shrugs loosely. That's about the gist of it. Now there's a whole library here that just so happens to be the foremost location for walled city texts. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks. I get the feeling that your relationship with your mother was unusual. You better believe it. She was obsessed with the walled city. Put it before everyone in her life. Mom ate, slept, and breathed that city. Was something feeling her obsession? Crafty shifts her gaze back to a stack of books on a nearby table. Yeah, actually. Mom was convinced that something was wrong with the place, that it was cursed in some way, polluted with unnaturally bad ki. She'd visit the city under the protection of the Yellow Lotus and spend hours, sometimes days, studying it. Crafty tears her eyes away from the books and returns her gaze to you. Mother was consumed by her research. Did she ever find anything? She sure tried. Mom thought she could find a way to purify the place and to exorcise its demons. Her obsession with the walled city grew, and she devoted more and more of her life to breaking its curse. Wish I could say she fell off the radar, but really, the rest of the world fell off of hers. I'm sorry, Crafty, that must have been hard for you. It is what it is, and here I am. Crafty gives you a warm smile. Sounds to me like you don't believe in your mother's research. You can see Crafty studying you. She exhales through her nose, and it seems as if she's considering something. I know we've just met, Harthic, but you have a generous ear. I don't mind discussing my mother with you as long as we keep the details between us. Mother's research was stupid. Just plain stupid. She wasn't stupid herself. No, Mom was very bright, but her obsession was downright unhealthy. Anyone could see that. The walled city is a toxic place home to dark spirits and astral influence, but Mom believed in a singular curse at the heart of the place. When you say toxic, what do you mean? My mother failed to change the walled city, and the time she spent inside there changed her. She grew sickly and became moody, irritable. She suffered from night terrors for the rest of her life. Crafty languidly sweeps a small clump of dust off a nearby book. It must have been difficult to watch her decline like that. She points a finger at you. It wasn't just that. The breaking point for me was her ridiculous obsession. I refused to indulge her, and it drove a wedge between us. Neither of us were willing to relent. A small, bitter laugh escapes her throat. I guess we had that in common. Stubborn till the end. So, after Mom died, I turned my back on her work and left the walled city and its people to themselves. It's a toxic site beyond rehabilitation. I do my best to ignore it. Her composure breaks for a second, and you can see Crafty shift nervously behind the counter. At least, I've tried. Now that these dreams, these nightmares are leaking out of the walled city, I wonder if I can still ignore it. We always have a choice. You're right, but not everyone's choices are weighted evenly, and I just don't think I can turn a blind eye to what's happening here. She loosely gestures to the bookshelves all over the shop. I have my mother's journals. I have the means to try and help. It's sure to dredge up bad memories, but if it'll help my friends, maybe it'll be worth it. I don't know. I guess I have a lot to think about. She crosses her arms and wraps her fingers against her skin. Anyway, thanks for lending me that ear of yours. I've been thinking about the dreams. Can I ask you something? She nods. Go ahead. Why do you think they're affecting people outside the walled city? It's definitely strange. Until now, I've always thought the dreams were nonsense. That my mother just had night terrors because of her madness. She props her chin up with her right hand. But now it's really happening. And it's not just to me, to others around Hawaii. Those same psychic forces that drove Mom insane are edging into our subconscious. Lately, I've been wondering if there might have been something to her ravings. Maybe. I've been skeptical for so long, it feels almost blasphemous to consider it. Maybe the walled city's curse is real. She rubs her hand down her face, obviously frustrated. I just don't know. Well, you have the means to find out. That's true, but my mom's notes are scattered all over the shop. Most of her research is scrawled in the margins of the books that you see on the shelves, and piles and stacks all over. The clues we need to figure this thing out could be in any one of these volumes, and there are thousands of them. I have a bad feeling about these dreams, Crafty. If there's anything we can do to get to the bottom of them, we need to take that opportunity. She sighs, straightens up. Yeah, I know what I have to do. It's just down. Look at all of them. She tiredly looks down at the book she was reading earlier. Guess I won't be finishing this one anytime soon. Alright, Harthic, I'm going to get started. Now. But it'll take time. The House of Five Phases is jammed from floor to ceiling with books, and any one of them could hold valuable information. Check in once in a while and I'll share my findings with you. You're doing the right thing. I'll do what I can too. Thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks, Crafty. See you around. Well, that was fun. Talked to a couple people this episode. I'm still not on my quest and I still haven't gone shopping. We're doing great here. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, like it, comment below, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter at Harthic7790, or my Tumblr page, harthic.tumblr.com. Till next time, people, this is Harthic. See you later.